Yep.
Yeah. And then another thing, now I remember where Kala is also used in Lamentations 3 verse 22. Your mercies never come to an end.
Ooh,
So the word end is
nice.
also
Very
Kala.
nice. Nice.
So means it's not, but yeah, the thing is it's not consumed.
Yes.
It keeps on
It's
filling
not
up.
destroyed, right? So, and this is a good example of you
It's
see
not
how the
destroyed.
same Hebrew verb takes on different nuance depending on, right? Look, in the book of Job, the very famous phrase where Job's wife, he tells her, just curse God and die. Okay? In the Hebrew, she says, bless God and die. So really context is truly king. We really do have to depend on how to nuance it sometimes. Even you'll find sometimes a word, for example, clan loyalty. How do you say this in Hebrew? Clan loyalty? Yeah, chesed,
Kesed,
chesed, chesed.
kesed.
Well, chesed in some contexts means like an aversion, right? Like something that's bad. It can actually mean like an evil intention, right? What? It's chesed. It's clan loyalty. Nope. The context shows. Although some lexicons identify that as a different chesed, and they say it's from Akkadian.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah. So
yeah.
okay.
And also, as I've also studied Psalms 91 in Hebrew,
Say it again.
the word for
Say
pestilence
it
is
again.
the bear. In Psalms 91, the word for pestilence, as I was studying this psalm, the word for pestilence
Oh
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
dever.
Dever. The Dever walks around at noontime and all that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually, also Dever is also a
Dever,
name of a
yeah.
demon in
Just like
Jewish
the bar.
lore. Yeah, in that
Devil.
psalm, a lot of those things, the pestilence, the ketef, all the other stuff, they're demonic names in the Talmud. They're names of demons, right?
Yep.
And there's different levels. The where it says the
Mm.
Tachiot Aretz, the lower levels of the earth. This is the name of one of the plains of Gehinnom, of hell, right? And so you have the very high level. You're right, pestilence, all this stuff. But don't be afraid of pestilence. But also there are Ugaritic deities in that psalm, names of gods that they worship in Ugarit. The Reshef. He was the archer, one of the archer heroes, right? And he'd fire his fiery arrows and stuff. And the psalmist is saying, "Don't worry about this guy and his arrows that fly around. Don't worry, he's not going to hurt you, right?" But it's the name of this. They had him as a hero. For us, he's a demon, right? And so there's a lot of really. That's a great psalm. I'd like to do so much to do, so little time. By the way, if anybody needs to go, don't feel bad if you need to go. I'm giving some extra time today. I feel bad for you guys that we missed out last week, and I'm trying to make up for the fun chit chat we had early on about the Holocaust and Germans and all that stuff. So, if you're a German listening to this later, look, we love you. We know you're not responsible. You weren't even alive then, probably. Yeah. So please don't take offense. It's just you have to understand. People have complex feelings to work out sometimes. So, yeah. Let's see. Any other comments or questions on this one here, guys? I want to show you Notain. What's happening with Notain?
Rabbi,
Yeah.
thank you for your infinitive absolute weird.
Uh,
I was having a hard time.
yeah.
Then one example is in Exodus 20, like
Exodus 20. Okay,
Zachor
hold on.
also.
You're breaking up. Wait,
So
I want to get the verse for everybody so everybody can see
20,
for the visual learners. Exodus,
yes,
what?
20
20,
verse
verse
8,
8. Okay. And
Zachor.
I'm going to pull it down on the screen here
Yes.
for us. Maybe I'll give you guys my translation of Exodus sometime. That might be nice. I trust you guys already.
Rabbi, can I exit?
Sure.
Will I exit
Yes, of
now?
course. Go ahead. If you need to
Please.
go, it's fine. Yeah, it's not required to stay, and I'll post it later,
Thank
okay?
you.
I'll post it later. Zachor?
Still the mga luma
Is
pa
it
to.
Zachor you're asking about, brother?
Yes, Rabbi.
Yeah, same
Zachor,
thing.
yes.
Very nice.
Infinitive.
Tuloy mo
You
lang
are
kung
getting it.
infinitive.
Infinitive absolute, functioning as imperative. Exactly. Zachor et Yom HaShabbat. Remember the Sabbath day. Not remembering, right? That'd be weird. Remember, exactly. And look in Logos here, if I put the thing over, he's going to tell us about it, infinitive absolute. Yeah, exactly. Very nice. Good. You guys are getting it, okay? Any other questions or comments on those? Okay, so if not, I want to talk about Notain real quickly.
Hindi, yung
Okay, I'm gonna have to mute somebody. It sounds like water in the background or something. Where are you? Okay, I'm gonna hit mute all. So if you want to talk, just unmute your mic. I'm muting everybody because I don't know who that is. And even if I did, I don't want to embarrass you. Okay, so here I'm going to pick a different color now since we've been. So notain, what is that? What verbal form is that? Is it perfect? Is it imperfect? Is it infinite absolute?
Participle.
What is it? It's active participle. That's right.
Active
Correct.
participle.
It's active participle. And let me pick a different color here. So active participle, it does not include time. Remember? It doesn't tell us about time, does it? So this, in order to translate this properly, this hini notain, okay? Behold, it can mean, behold, I am giving, behold, I will give, behold, I gave, behold, I was giving, etc. We have to look to the context to establish the time frame, right? So really, he just had a command, an imperative. So that's going to put us in the present or future, something like that. So therefore, say, right? Therefore, say, hini noten lo. I am giving lo. What's lo mean? Lo.
To him.
Good. To him.
Arabic,
Giving to him. Yep.
Behold.
Yep. Behold, I.
Or though,
Behold,
though.
I. Or look, I. Notain lo. Am giving to him. Et. What am I giving?
Et biriti
Yes.
shalom.
Veriti.
And behold, I
Veriti. Very good. Veriti. That's right. So what does veriti mean?
come.
That's my covenant. Exactly, my covenant. Sorry, you went out there for a second, but I heard somebody. Yep. So berit is covenant, and beriti is my covenant. Okay. Now look, it gets interesting. What is shalom? Somebody, you got your water on again. Please.
Peace.
Hold on.
My covenant.
Oh, I'm sorry, I muted you. I was muting the water person. Whoever was washing their hands or something. Yeah. Say it again, Ate. I think you said.
My covenant
Now
of
that's
peace.
correct. It does mean, but it's kind of strange here. The grammar doesn't work to say my covenant of peace. That is kind of inferred, isn't it? But it doesn't work in the Hebrew. You can't really say here my covenant of peace. Why not? What's the problem here? What rule am I violating if I literally say my covenant of peace? Yes.
Rabbi, I think there is a broken bob.
Broken what?
Broken bob.
Oh, in the Masoretic text? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. In the Shalom,
Yes.
isn't there? Yeah, you're right.
There's a broken bob there.
Yeah, the
Broken bob.
computer program doesn't get it, but you're right. There is a broken bob. Very nice. Everybody sees what he's talking about? It's right here in Shalom. In our textual tradition, the Vav here is broken. It's broken. It's broken. Yeah, you don't see it here on the computer program. They don't capture that detail, but that's nice memory there, Tom. Very nice nuance. It's very interesting. So, but what is the problem before we get to the broken vav? What's the problem with Briti Shalom?
Now it should it should be in construct form.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly right. It should be in construct form, and he's not, is he? He has a suffix.
Rabbi
Go
comments.
Yes.
Rabbi, can I
Sure.
comment, Rabbi?
Go for it.
Is that the crucifixion of Yeshua, Adonai Yeshua?
Very interesting. That's a very interesting hypothesis. It could be. That could be a nice messianic interpretation for us. That he is the Sar Shalom, the Prince of Peace. And oftentimes, Yeshua's zeal is compared to that of Piנחas. Because remember, when he's in the temple, right, and he makes the cat of nine tails whip with spikes, he creates it himself. Everybody watches him for an hour or 2 hours, however long he's making this complicated whip with metal shards on the end that will really hurt the people, really for injuring someone, not just for making loud sounds. In the Greek, it's called a fragalion, which is this 9-leathered whip with sharp edges in the end of it. He's making this thing, and we're told later that it's because of the zelos in the Hebrew, the zeal of my house. What is it? I think it's peuguseme. It consumes me. It eats me. In the Greek, it says, right? And so, very nice comparison to take the zeal of Piנחas, who is definitely a type of Yeshua, with his zeal for his father's house, to that of Yeshua. And of course, you have the covenant of peace, and Yeshua is the Sar Shalom. He's the one who brings us peace. I like it. I think that's a valid messianic point. Certainly.
Rabbi, the Bob means the number of man, number 6. Bob is a number of
True.
man. So that's broken. Yeah, it's a broken because of Adonai
Yeah.
Yeshua.
Very
Because of
true.
him.
Where we get the Vav 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 666. It is the number of man in the book of Revelation as well.
Yes.
Yep. Very good. Yeah. And by the way, if you guys are interested, I'll try to remember later tonight to look at my Mikot Gedolot. I have my bar mitzvah gift when I was a kid that I was given from the synagogue. When I finished my bar mitzvah, they gave me a 5-volume beautiful Mikot Gedolot, and it has the all these textual traditions that Tom's talking about. So I'll look it up and I'll take a picture. Try to remind me. Bli Neder. I'll post it on the Hebrew Literacy chat. Yeah, so you guys can see what Tom's talking about there. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so the problem is exactly as you said. We have a construct here. We have a construct form, and I want to show you. Let's see. That is verse 12. Let's see. What are we? Numbers. Where are we in Numbers? What chapter, guys? Can you help me out? Numbers. Or is it 26 we're in? Or 23?
25.
25?
5.
Okay, thank you. 25? Okay, great. Okay,
25.
so I want to show you, this is the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia with a critical apparatus. So this is a scholarly Hebrew text with notes about, when there's differences in certain manuscripts that have been found and stuff like this. And look at this irony. You can't really hate the Germans. They bring us such wonderful Hebrew scholarship. So many great Hebrew tools and scholars have come out of Germany. It's weird. Hashem will not let me hate them because they have given us so many precious gifts in understanding the Hebrew text. So let's look here. Okay, you see this little, go up. Okay, you see a little B here? It says Briti and then there's a B. This tells me the apparatus has a note. I'm going to bring the note up. Okay, let's say, it's telling me that in the Peshitta and in the Septuagint, Sinme Suf. Okay, it's without the suffix. Look at that. So this means that the rabbis who translate, I could show you in the Greek if you want. If you're interested, I will. But for now, we'll just keep it on Hebrew because the apparatus is telling me the first symbol there, this little guy, hold on, where does it come up? Oh, where'd he go? The first thing means Septuagint. Okay, anyway, it went over to another window. I'm not going to bother bringing it down. That's fine. So the first one, if you look there, that first little squiggly looking thing after the B, that means Septuagint. The next thing means Syriac of the Old Testament, right? So the Peshitta. So in the Peshitta, Syriac, which is like Aramaic, and in the Greek, both of those ancient versions, they translate it as if there's no Yod here. They treat it like there's no Yod. So even though the Masorah has it, there's an interesting speculation that whatever text the rabbis who translated the Septuagint Greek out of, and whoever translated into that late Aramaic, they were looking at a textual tradition that did not have a Yod here after Greek. Or there was an advanced grammatical concept that was very rare that those rabbis recognized. You could actually have the Yod there and you just let go of it. I will tell you, since you guys are into advanced stuff, there is another explanation. There is a rare throwback to ancient Hebrew where we used to have case systems. And the Yod represented what is called the genitive. Okay? And this is actually, the genitive eventually formed into the construct plural masculine with the Yod there. Right? That's why you have the Yod in Malchei Haaretz, the kings of the earth, right? You still have the Yod there. But originally that was a genitive ending. Okay? So that told me of. Like other languages like Russian, Latin, Greek, they have genitive. And so when you see a word is in the genitive form, you know to translate of. Okay, that tells us it's of, belonging to something. So Hebrew had it also in pre-biblical times. And it shows up in the Psalms sometimes. And sometimes it shows up for whatever reason. Maybe the author's trying to wax poetic or something. Or maybe Hashem just wanted to be that way. So it's possible that this could actually be, this could actually be It's the grammatical term. What's it called? Yod compaginous is one way they call it, or a genitival yod. It could be like this. It might not be construct. It might be this ancient form, and that would explain that those rabbis 2,400 years ago they understood it to mean of. Okay, so technically there's not a violation here. It's just this very very rare old form that's resurfaced here in the writing. Okay, so in this case, Briti, it probably the Masoretes are probably wrong in how they're pointing. It probably would have been whatever. We'll just leave it like that. Genitive, meaning of shalom. So you still get this idea, covenant of peace, but it would not be my covenant of peace. You understand? We see the same thing showing up in Melchizedek. His name is very problematic for grammarians because you can't say my king of righteousness. You can't put a suffix on the construct and then have an absolute afterwards. It's not allowed. You would have to say Melech Tzadki, like king of my righteousness to mean my king of righteousness, right? Or you'd have to say Melech Tzedek Sheli. Another way you could do it like that. Are you guys with me still? You're still here? Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
Rabbi,
it's a bit advanced, but we're in the text here, so it's worth mentioning. Yeah, what's going on here? The way that you would say, using what we know grammatically, my covenant of peace, we would say Barit, no yod, shlomi. Okay, so literally it would be like covenant of my peace, but you could translate that my covenant of peace if you wanted to. Okay, or you could say Bariti. Who knows the next one? Who can guess? Grammatically be correct. We're not going to do construct. I want to say my covenant of peace. Veriti, now I'm going to make peace as an adjective. Veriti, how would you say? How do I have to, can anybody get it right? Yes,
Shalom.
good job. Because briti is definite. And so we have to make the adjective definite. Briti hashalom. If I want to say my covenant of, if I want to say my holy covenant, how would I say that? Briti hakodesh.
Briti
Yeah, exactly.
Hakodesh.
See, everybody's following because the definiteness has to agree from the adjective to the noun, and when you put a suffix on a noun, it becomes definite. It's okay if you guys are all following this. This is a bit advanced. We have talked about it though, so let me see what the C is. I'm curious what the difference is on shalom here. Oh, interesting. So there are some textual variants that spell this shilum. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's see where we are. Come on, pulling this out of the way again. Okay, are there any other questions or comments?
Rabbi, can you clarify to us about Pinchas? God rewarded him the covenant of peace. Is that Pinchas will not die or something? They tell the rabbi said that he is Elijah
Right.
or the
Right,
man.
that's good. There are some traditions like this. The more popular translation, the majority translation that the Talmud takes on this is that, not translation, but interpretation, is that what it means is his priesthood would be blessed, and there would be many priests. He would actually be the one eventually in control of the priesthood, his descendants. And so when you read about Zadok and the other priests who were loyal to David HaMelech, these guys were the descendants of Phinehas, right? And so the idea of him having the covenant of shalom. Hold on just a sec. I'm muting you just for a sec. Yeah, these guys, it's showing that he gets the perpetual priesthood, really. So they're all descendants of Aharon, but it's the descendants of Phinehas. He gets a lot of guys in the office, and so by shalom, remember, shalom also has not just peace; it's got this kind of nuance of completeness, right? Of perfection, of doing it right, right? So when we say shalom, we're not just saying peace, peace, like no war, right? It's like completion, right? And so for him to have the kehumah shalema, it's really saying that his descendants, they're going to be good priests, they're going to be favorable before the Lord, they're going to walk in his ways, and they will have the kahuna, the actual service, because not everyone who's a descendant of Aaron gets to make sacrifices, okay? There's a time in history where you have thousands of Aaronites, right? And so, there's a lot of guys just sitting on the bench, waiting for their turn to get in there, but not Phinehas' descendants. So you're right. There are other takes that the sages say. There's the idea of Eliyahu is from him, and all this kind of stuff. And there's and that could be true too. They can both be true. And there's other theories that go with this. One of them, I think this is in Midrash Tanchuma. I could be wrong in the Midrash. It might be the I can't remember if it's Tanchuma or the Sifrei. I think it's Tanchuma. In Midrash Tanchuma, Wolf Gerber, I think it says that Pinchas, and you hinted about this, Tom, will have exceedingly long life.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
He'll have
yeah.
long life. Yeah, and actually, in the book of Judges, the sages tell us that Pinchas, well, he's actually mentioned in Shoftim, and the sages say it's the same Pinchas, all the way in the book of Judges. It's the same Pinchas. And our tradition actually condemns him at this point in time. He's lived too long, because what happens is, you remember Yiftach, the judge Yiftach? He's kind of a fool, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, just
He
Jephthah,
makes the
yeah.
stupid vow, whatever comes out from my house, I will offer up as an olah to Adonai,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And
yes.
his daughter comes out, and the rabbis, they ridicule him in the Talmud, right? They say, what? So if a dog had come out, you would have sacrificed a dog to me, right? Like how is this a good vow, even if you had no children, right? It's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. If your cat came out, you're going to sacrifice an
Yeah,
animal,
stupid. Yeah,
right?
that's
He's kind of a
sacrifice.
moron, right? But the thing is, it's even more moronic that he kills his daughter, because in halacha we have a concept that there is a false neder. If you make a vow that's not kosher,
Yes, false vow,
then
yeah.
any scholar can annul your vow. You don't even have to go to Beit Din. You can go to anyone who's a scholar, and you can say, look, I made this vow. Is it right? And they can say, no, you fool. You can't vow to kill your daughter. What, are you crazy? That's not kosher. Get out of here. I know it. I know it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, right? Or you know it in whatever, right? And this is actually what Yeshua hints at when he's saying that wherever two and three there are, there I am in the midst of them. And he gives us the power. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. What he's saying is that he gives us this halakhic interpretive power of the Beit Din, that when we have a Beit Din, when we have a religious court, even if whether it's a permanent court filled with rabbis or a temporary court filled with anyone who's knowledgeable with the Bible, they can come together and form a religious court when they need to, and they can loosen the halakha. They can say, okay, you know what? In Philippines, everybody lives far apart, and they need to see each other on Shabbat. They can take jeepneys. Okay, they can loosen the halakha for Shabbat, right? Or they can bind it. They can tighten it. This is the mitzvah, because we have a mitzvah command to make these religious courts, right? And so Hashem gives us this authority to loosen, not violate the commandment, but to interpret the commandment. You see, just like Yeshua loosened and tightened, we can also loosen and tighten in the proper context. And a scholar can annul a vow. So if you've made a vow, you're not stuck if it was a stupid vow that wasn't kosher in the first place, right? You can get out of it. Yeah. And so,
Rabbi, can you explain to us about Elijah was captured? Some Christians believe that's the rapture of Elijah from the heaven. That's why he never tastes death.
Well, real quick before that, I just want to finish with Pinchas is there in Shoftim, and the sages teach us that Yiftach was too arrogant to go to him to try, because who am I? I'm a ruler of Israel, to go to you, just a priest. And they say that Pinchas, this is just tradition, that he was also a bit arrogant after living so many years, and he's saying, who am I to go to such an Am Haaretz, which means an ignoramus, literally a person of the land. Right, that it means ignoramus in rabbinical Hebrew. Right, so who am I to go to an Am Haaretz? So because neither of them would humble themselves, this poor girl perished. Yeah. So anyway, so you're asking about Eliyahu Hanavi, why he was taken up. So this is not only him but Enoch also, right? They both get taken up. So Eliyahu Hanavi and Enoch, their kinat Hashem was so great. Their zeal for God was so great. And you remember, even Eliyahu, he says it. He says, Lord, my God, my zeal for you is so great. They've killed all your prophets. Only I am left alone. And he's filled with the zeal for Hashem, isn't he? He even executes, not murders. He executes the prophets Baal. You can see the same zeal of Pinchas alive in him. And this is why the sages, they make the connection, right? That he's even, because look, it's not kosher. The rabbis, they would like to excommunicate Pinchas. You're not allowed to just break rank and kill somebody, okay? The Beit Din has to decide, that he's guilty, right? There have to be witnesses, etc. But the Spirit of the Lord came on Phinehas, and because this is why very, very quickly Moshe is informed, look, the guy did no wrong. He stopped it. He did what I wanted, so that they would not execute him. You understand? Because otherwise it looks like murder.
Rabbi, what do you say about Rabbi? How many years old to Pinkas? Maybe 100 years old, 200 years
no,
old,
longer,
500
longer.
years old.
Longer, because look,
there's a
because
Nephilim.
look, we
Yeah.
we start here outside of the land. We're not even in the land yet, right?
Oh.
And then right, so we're not even in the land. And there's a little bit of a problem too with the traditional interpretation, of course, because what does the text tell us? All from that generation died, right? So you have to, so we can at least assume that Phinehas is young. He's very young, right? He was born in the wilderness, right? So he's a young guy, right now. But all the way into the period of the judges, he's still alive and well and kicking and doing stuff. So yeah, I don't know the exact time period. I'd have to research that, but he's definitely very old. Yeah, and he lives beyond the judge periods too, right? So yeah, again, assuming our tradition is correct, it's the same Phinehas. It's not an uncommon name later. Yes.
Rabbi, last
Okay.
question.
Okay.
Last question. I have read in the book of Gospel of John that Yeshua, after he was raised from the dead, in the Gospel of John, he said that this disciple that will not die, and that is pointing to Yochanan, to John. It's true that he was still alive in this day, or what do you say about that?
I have always understood that to mean that he would not experience a violent death, right? That he would die peacefully. Yeah, that's how I've understood it. But
yeah, Yeshua said
yeah,
that.
but I could be wrong. If anybody else wants to chime in, I mean, in a way, my interpretation is kind of the cop-out interpretation, right? Like we're withdrawing from the miraculous in a way. Do we have an execution tradition for Yochanan? I don't think so, right? I think
He was a boy from.
he escapes to Patmos, right? He escapes to Patmos.
Yeah.
They wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
He escapes. Yeah, I think
Patmos,
you're right. Yeah, I don't think we know. I don't think we have a recording of his death. We might have to check the writings of the church fathers. But might have to look there and see if something is said, because his disciple John's disciple writes a lot in the early church fathers. Right? I can't think of his name offhand. If anybody wants to help me with that, I'm not well versed in the church fathers, mostly because there are a lot of anti-Semites, so I don't like them. But but there's some useful information there, right? Yeah, good questions. Yeah, so that's a really hard one. I can't definitively say. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments, guys, on this stuff? We have the broken valve. I'll try to get that to you. Again, feel free to go if you like. We're just continuing on. Those who want to continue on, it's okay. Maybe we'll go on to 7 o'clock. I want to give you guys the time back that you lost from the blah blah earlier when I got excited talking about the other stuff, and also from not meeting last week. Yeah, let's just want to fill you up a little bit more, share some more. Any other questions specifically about Hebrew? Are you all here with me still? I see we've got 14 online still. Wow. Troopers. Are you
Yes,
guys
we're
getting
here.
tired? Do you need to check out? What do you think of
Energized to keep listening.
Okay. I'm actually excited about this idea of doing a podcast, just maybe a kind of a open topic podcast. If any of you are interested in that, let me know. And maybe I'll start one this week and let you know when it's going to be. Whoever can come in, you can come in and participate. We can just talk about various messianic things or whatever and see where it takes us, like a coffee talk or something, Shalom. I'm Rabbi Yirmeyah Benavrom. If you've been enjoying the Benavrom method of biblical Hebrew study through immersion in the text, please consider becoming a patron. This will help us to make more learning content available. By your support, please go to www.patreon.com/Hebrew Literacy. Toda Rabah.